Yes, I can sum up my world point of view with one word: eugenics. Eugenics. Yeah, it's a horrible word, I feel. I don't like it, but it's just part of reality. So what comes to mind with the word eugenics? What comes to mind with the word eugenics is people with a mindset that the world is overpopulated with people. But not just any people. It's overpopulated with kind of uncivilized peasants. And from that perspective, they order their governments, That's what I feel. At the moment I watch the Zelensky, Ukraine, Russian, American debates, and nobody's mentioning eugenics. Because if you think about it, the Americans, eugenics people, who originally did a coup in Ukraine to put their American puppets in place, American Zionist puppets, eugenics people, as part of a world dominance idea. You remember right back with the Hitler and the Jews. Both of them had the Zionist Jews and the Hitler regimes had the same, they agreed on one thing. Eugenics! Eugenics! There are too many uncivilized peasants in the world. And so they feed themselves with like 90% of all the food in the world and all the resources of the world. And they leave about 10% to the rest, hoping that they will just die off or eat each other up or just get rid of it. Anything to reduce their populations because they're uncivilized peasants. That's the mindset I feel of the Nazi Ukrainians, of the Nazi Americans, of the Nazi or Zionists or Jews. It's the idea that there's some kind of superiority. It's like Finland or Sweden. We're civilized, not like them. Civilized. Civilized to the point of what? So, the first question is the world overpopulated? If you go to the cities where they're all crammed in, the civilized people tend to be living in cities, at least that's maybe the general perception. All the civilized people live in neat little cities that are organized with buses and trains and everything's going organized, everything's efficient. At least a lot of these cities, they did have some semblance of efficiency at one point, but they're just getting more cramped and more uncivilized people now in their streets with no homes. Of course, the civilized people have not yet taken on board charity. I mean real charity, and not like, oh, let me help you with your demise. No, not those people. Not the Fauci mob or all those people who are, coming in with their poisons and spreading all sort of diseases and then coming up with vaccines and spreading disease and coming up with vaccines, spreading diseases, coming up with vaccines. If this seems like a conspiracy theory, maybe it is. I can't say for sure. All I can say is that's my point of view. That's from my general observation as just one person on planet Earth, I suppose. That's what I'm getting from my web. So, eugenics. You want to look on the world situation. Well, think about the Zionist conspiracies. Are the Zionists in Ukraine? And the Zionists in Israel. And then imagine what they might be doing in countries like Africa if they were let loose, or China if they were let loose, or anywhere else in the world. Eugenics is not something that these people are openly talking about. But if you look behind the scenes, it's been driving an awful lot of the political agenda, right from Hitler to today. It was like we're still dealing with the Zionist Nazi conspiracy to take over the world. That's what we're still dealing with. And if you think of, well, who are the Nazis? Who are the Zionists? Well, everybody thinks, like the Nazis are the Germans. But the German Nazis were into eugenics, and the most of the eugenics theological thinkers, or whatever you can call them, theological, were Americans and other Europeans. They weren't necessarily just Germans. It just happened that the Germans sort of thought, oh yeah, that's a great idea, eugenics, it's overpopulated. Now let's try and get rid of all those uncivilized peasants and bring them home, to the, civilized order, and like us, and, like that thinking. The dignity of every born child, every newborn child. That's where it begins. If you cannot kiss the feet of every newborn child on the planet, in your mind, if that's not your mindset, well, what is it? Do you see the newborn children as beneath you? Are they under your feet, or are you under their feet? There's really no room for eugenics, as far as I can see, in my conception of the future. And this idea of trying to feed 90% of the world with 10% of the resources, and keeping 90% of the resources for 10%, and then controlling the resentment. It's like living off the resentment, using it to divide and keep things as they are. Not trying to help. We all know now that it doesn't take a lot of food to satisfy the human body. A couple of meals a day, or one meal a day, and a bit of exercise, and everybody's hunky-dory. But if you don't have the water and you don't have the food, it's not so hunky-dory. And when people are actually deliberately trying to control these things in order to control people, in a sense of eugenics, it's not the way to go. So what is the way to go? The way to go is a basic human right to a basic living. Oh, you deserve nothing. The world owes you nothing. No. The world, first of all, owes you respect as a baby coming out of the mother's womb. You deserve every possible advantage they can give you. Now, the old folks, the giants looking down at this little baby coming out of the mother, seem to be of the opinion that they are superior. They're the old generation. They think they're superior to this new child. And so they want to dominate the child and just, that's not where it should be at. You have a fresh soul arriving, a loving being coming out of the womb, loving with the mother, hopefully. I mean, I'm not talking about exceptions. I'm talking about in general, you have children being born to a loving mother, and they're happy up to a point. If they're fed, if they're warm, if they're not too cold, etc., etc., etc. That's what we need to fix. Oh, but there's too much. We can't. Too much? So you give them 10% and you keep 90 for yourself. That's how and then you complain that you can't do anything for these people. Somebody throws numbers around like if you were to take just 2% or 3% of all the profits of all these, Elon Musks and all these people, you could feed and house, hundreds of thousands of people. But that doesn't serve eugenics. Eugenics is like getting rid of people in the nicest way possible. Ask Fauci, mob. So that's what I feel. That's what I personally feel, and I'm just one guy, soul, whatever, just looking out, listening to World Wide Web, mostly nonsense, I feel. A lot of beautiful education stories, history stories, and everything else, but I'm still left with the here and now and the moment. And my sun shines. And I breathe the air. I'm a living being, just looking on, trying to take in whatever intelligence I can from any source I can. That's all. That's all I am, I suppose. However, it's been given to me by all of this. It has been given to me to sum the whole situation up in 2 words, what I call my MC² poem, one's love. One's love. One love is mighty. merciful. True. One love, giving each and every one worlds, each in our time. We get to witness and to feel. All the love, in all of our world, coming on through. Seeds of one's love, me and you. Seeds of one love like me and you. One love is mighty merciful and true. One love, giving each and every one of us as children angel love, loving wings. As we come here, loving just about everyone, everyone and everything. Keeping on, love, loving me and you too. Seeds of one love upon the earth they're coming to. One love, mighty, merciful and true. All of our thoughts about enemies are falling beneath sweet loving feet. water bound. Rays of my sun, my planet's preserver, preserving on and on and on and on and on. When love is mighty, merciful and true, yeah, that's a version of the song, One's Love. One's love. I feel